The message came from deep space on a Tuesday morning. It wasn't meant for Earth. Dr. James Miller stood frozen in the control room of the Deep Space Communications Array in Arizona. His coffee mug shattered on the floor, but he didn't notice. The signal on his screen was unlike anything humanity had ever detected. It was structured, mathematical, and clearly artificial. "Get Director Johnson here, now," he whispered to his assistant, Tom. The message repeated every 17 minutes. As more scientists gathered around the monitors, they began to decode it. The alien signal used a simple binary system, building up from basic mathematics to complex concepts. Within hours, the best minds on Earth were working on it. By evening, they had translated the first part. Director Johnson read it aloud to the packed room. "To all servant species of Sector 7B, your tribute is overdue. The Empire demands immediate surrender of half your population for processing. Compliance ensures survival of remaining half. Resistance means total extinction. You have one solar rotation to respond." The room fell silent. Then someone asked the obvious question, "What's Sector 7B?" After frantic calculations, they realized the truth. The message wasn't for Earth at all. It was meant for a star system, 12 light-years away. Earth had accidentally intercepted it because of their position in space. The aliens, and whoever they were, didn't even know humans existed. President Davis called an emergency meeting of world leaders. In a secure bunker beneath Washington, she addressed them through encrypted video links. "Ladies and gentlemen, we've discovered we're not alone. And our neighbors are monsters." The Chinese premier spoke first. "They don't know about us. We should stay silent." "And let them harvest other civilizations?" the British Prime Minister countered. President Davis stood up. "Here's what we know. This empire has been doing this for who knows how long. They send these messages expecting fearful compliance. They've never had someone intercept their communications who wasn't already under their boot." The Russian president leaned forward. "What are you suggesting?" "I'm suggesting," Davis said slowly, "that they never intended humans to answer. They don't know we exist. They don't know what we're capable of. And that gives us an advantage." Over the next hours, a plan formed. Humanity would respond, but not as victims. They would respond as something the Empire had never encountered. A species that heard their threats and chose to strike first. The world's space agencies began working together like never before. Secret military projects were revealed and shared. Scientists who had competed their whole careers suddenly found themselves collaborating. Dr. Miller worked through the night, helping to craft humanity's response. They would use the Empire's own communication system against them. The message would be simple, but the intent would be clear. As dawn broke, President Davis authorized the transmission. Radio telescopes around the world aligned and sent humanity's first message to the stars. "Empire of Sector 7B. This is Earth. We have intercepted your harvest message. We reject your authority. We know your location. We are coming." They attached something else to the message: specifications of Earth's nuclear arsenal, footage of human wars, and a simple counter-demand. "Cease all harvest operations immediately, or face the consequences." In the control room, Tom turned to Dr. Miller. "Do you think we just started a war?" Miller stared at the stars through the window. "No, Tom. We just announced that humanity won't be anyone's victim. Ever." Around the world, factories that had built cars began building weapons. Universities that studied physics began studying alien technology. And humanity, which had spent 50 years dreaming of peaceful first contact, began preparing for war. They never intended humans to answer, but Earth had responded in rage. 3 months passed before the Empire received Earth's message. Commander Vex sat in his throne aboard the harvest ship Dominator when the communication arrived. For 5,000 years, the Empire had sent harvest messages. For 5,000 years, weak species had surrendered. No one had ever responded with defiance. "Play it again," Vex ordered his communication officer Krell. The human message played once more. The bridge fell silent as the crew absorbed the impossible. Not just defiance, but a threat. From prey. How did they intercept a directed message? Vex demanded. Krell's forearms trembled as he worked his console. They must have technology we didn't account for. But sir, look at their location. They're in the dead zone, the empty sector between harvested regions. Vex stood, his 7-foot frame casting shadows across the bridge. How did we miss an entire species? They're young, sir. Their radio signals have only been detectable for less than 200 years. In Empire time, that's nothing. That tactical officer Zorn analyzed the data humans had sent. Commander, these nuclear weapons they mention, the energy output is significant for a primitive species. Primitive? Vex laughed, a sound like grinding metal. Primitive species, cower. These humans sent us their military capabilities as a threat. They're either very brave or very stupid. He studied the war footage the humans had included. The violence was crude but effective. What struck him most was how humans fought each other, with determination, that reminded him of something he'd rather forget. Sir, Krell interrupted. The Council is demanding an explanation. No one has ever rejected a harvest order. Vex made his decision. Set course for this Earth. We'll make an example of them. Let the galaxy see what happens to those who defy the Empire. But as the massive harvest fleet changed direction, something unexpected happened. The human message had been broadcast broadly, not just to the Empire. Other species heard it too. On the enslaved world of Prima, workers in the tribute mines listened to Earth's defiance through hidden receivers. For the first time in generations, they felt something forbidden: hope. On the occupied planet of Nexus, resistance fighters who had hidden for decades heard that someone, somewhere, had stood up to the Empire. They began to plan. Back on the Dominator, Vex received reports that disturbed him. Production quotas were falling across the Empire. Servant species were working slower. Some were asking questions. It's that Earth message, Zorn reported. It's spreading through our territory like a virus. The servants are calling the humans, the ones who said no. Vex slammed his fist on his throne. Double the fleet size, I want 50 harvest ships. 50? Krell gasped. Sir, we've never needed more than 3 for any harvest. These humans have given our slaves hope, Vex snarled. That makes them more dangerous than any weapon. We'll burn their world to glass and broadcast it across the Empire. Fear will return. As the fleet prepared, Vex studied everything they could intercept from Earth. The humans were mobilizing their entire planet. Every nation was contributing. They were turning their whole world into a weapon. Fascinating, Zorn admitted. They fight among themselves constantly, yet unite against external threats. It's almost like they've been training for war their entire existence. Vex watched a human military parade on his screen. The soldiers marched in perfect formation, their weapons gleaming. But it was their eyes that bothered him. They showed no fear, only determination. Commander, Krell said quietly. What if they're not bluffing? What if they really are coming for us? Vex turned to face his crew. Impossible. They have one planet. We have thousands. They have primitive rockets. We have faster-than-light travel. But privately, Vex felt something he hadn't experienced in centuries: uncertainty. The humans hadn't responded like prey. They had responded like predators who had just discovered someone had threatened their territory. As the Empire's fleet grew and moved toward Earth, monitoring stations detected something else. Energy signatures from Earth were spiking. The humans were building something, many somethings, and they were doing it faster than any species the Empire had ever encountered. The harvest was supposed to be simple. It always had been. But Earth had responded in rage, and now the Empire would learn why humans had survived on a world where everything, including themselves, was trying to kill everything else. The hunters were about to discover they had awakened, something that had spent its entire evolution becoming very, very good at war. 6 months had passed since Earth's defiant message. The planet had transformed into the largest military factory in human history. General Robert Stone stood in the command center of the newly constructed Global Defense Initiative, located deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. Screens covered every wall, showing factories, shipyards, and training facilities across Earth. "Status report," he ordered. Colonel Lisa Park pulled up the data. "Sir, we've constructed 17 orbital defense platforms. The Mars colony has been converted to a forward military base. Every nuclear power plant is now producing weapons-grade material." Stone nodded. The response had been remarkable. Old enemies had become allies overnight. Russia shared its rocket technology. America opened its military secrets. China's factories ran day and night. Even corporations had joined. Tech giants created AI systems, car companies built war machines. "What about Project Hammer?" Stone asked. Dr. Alan White, the lead scientist, stepped forward. "We've reverse-engineered their communication system. We think we can turn it into a weapon." Explain. "Their messages travel faster than light using quantum entanglement. If we overload the system with a massive data burst, we could fry every receiver in their network simultaneously." Stone smiled grimly. "A galaxy-wide EMP?" "Exactly. But sir, we'd only get one shot. After that, they'd shield against it." On the moon, humanity's first real warships were taking shape. They weren't pretty, blocky, angular things bristling with weapons. But they were built with human ingenuity and spite. Captain Maria Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the Defiant, humanity's flagship. It was smaller than the Empire's ships according to intercepted data, but humans had always been good at fighting bigger opponents. "How's the crew?" she asked her second-in-command, Lieutenant John Adams. "Eager, Captain. Maybe too eager. Half of them lost someone in the wars before. They're redirecting that anger outward." Rodriguez understood. Humanity had spent millennia perfecting the art of killing each other. Now for the first time they had a common enemy. Back on Earth, something else was happening. The message to the Empire had awakened something in humanity. Art depicting human victory flooded the internet. Songs about defiance topped every chart. Children played Humans versus Empire in playgrounds. President Davis addressed the United Nations, now renamed the United Earth Council. "The Empire expects us to wait for them, to cower as they approach. They don't understand humans. We don't wait for the storm. We sail into it." The plan was audacious. Instead of defending Earth, humanity would attack. Not the Empire's fleet, but something more valuable: their reputation of invincibility. General Stone revealed the strategy to his commanders. "Every Empire transmission we've intercepted shows the same thing. They rule through fear. No one has ever fought back. That's their weakness." "So what do we do?" Colonel Park asked. "We're going to liberate one of their slave worlds." The room went silent. Stone continued. "The planet Prima. It's their closest mining world. 3 light years away. We hit it hard, free the slaves, and broadcast it across the galaxy." "Sir, we don't have faster-than-light travel," someone protested. Dr. White spoke up. "No, but we have something else. The quantum communicator can send more than messages. We figured out how to send small objects. Very small." He held up a vial. "Nanobots, self-replicating, programmed to disable Empire technology and free slave collars. We fire these through the quantum field directly to Prima." "And then?" President Davis asked, joining the meeting via secure link. "Then we send a message with it," Stone replied. "Not to the Empire, to their slaves. We tell them Earth stands with them. We teach them to fight." The vote was unanimous. As Earth prepared its first interstellar strike, intercepted Empire communications showed their fleet approaching. 50 harvest ships, each carrying weapons that could devastate a planet. But humanity had survived ice ages, plagues, wars, and disasters. They had evolved on a planet that seemed designed to kill them, and in doing so, they had become something the Empire had never encountered, a species that turned adversity into strength. Captain Rodriguez looked at the stars from her ship. "They think we're prey," she said to her crew. "They're about to learn that on Earth even the prey fights back, and sometimes the prey wins." The countdown to humanity's first strike began. In homes across Earth, families gathered to watch. They knew the risks. But for the first time in human history, the entire species stood as one. The Empire never intended humans to answer. They certainly never expected humans to attack first. The quantum missiles launched at midnight, Earth time. Invisible to any sensor, they traveled through folded space toward Prima. On Prima, slave worker Tank 7842, who had once been called Dex before the Empire took his name, labored in the deep mines. His collar burned against his neck, a constant reminder of his servitude. For 40 years he had dug rare minerals for the Empire's ships. Then his collar went dead. At first Dex thought it was malfunctioning. Then he heard shouts from other tunnels. Every collar in the mine had deactivated simultaneously. For the first time in 4 decades, Dex stood completely straight, the collar no longer forcing him to bow. Above ground, chaos erupted. Empire guards found their weapons wouldn't fire. Their ships wouldn't start. Their communication systems displayed only one message, repeating in every known language: "This is Earth. We stand with the oppressed. Today, Prima is free. Tomorrow, the galaxy. Rise up. Fight back. You are not alone." Guard Captain Tor, frantically, tried his weapon as thousands of slaves surrounded his patrol. Without their collars, without fear of instant death, the slaves remembered their anger. "Please," Tor begged, something the Empire never did. "We were just following orders." Dex stepped forward, picking up a mining tool. "So are we. Earth's orders. Fight for freedom." The uprising spread across Prima in hours. The nanobots had not only disabled Empire technology, but had also converted mining equipment into weapons. Slaves who had forgotten how to fight were suddenly finding instructions appearing on any screen they looked at. Basic combat tactics, weak points of Empire anatomy, how to organize resistance cells. On Earth, General Stone watched the feeds coming through the quantum communicator. "It's working. Prima is fighting." President Davis stood beside him. "How long before the Empire responds?" "Their fleet is still 2 months away from Earth, but they'll send forces to Prima immediately. Then we move to Phase 2. Across Earth's solar system, humanity's new fleet powered up. 100 ships, small by Empire standards but packed, with nuclear weapons and crewed by humans who had nothing to lose and everything to prove. Captain Rodriguez gave the order: "All ships, prepare for Operation Exodus." They couldn't travel faster than light, but they could do something else. Using the quantum communicator, they sent detailed ship blueprints to Prima, along with something else: the complete history of human warfare, every strategy, every tactic, from Sun Tzu to modern guerrilla warfare. On Prima, Dex found himself in the former governor's palace, now a command center for the rebellion. The screens showed Earth's gift of knowledge flooding in. "They're teaching us to fight like humans," said Vera, another freed slave. "Look at this." Dex pointed to a screen showing human history. They fought each other for thousands of years. They nearly destroyed themselves multiple times, but they survived and united. The Empire's response came within days. 20 harvest ships arrived at Prima, expecting to find a minor slave revolt. Instead, they found a coordinated resistance using human tactics. The slaves had turned the mines into traps. They used the planet's tunnel systems like the Vietnamese had used against Americans. They fought with improvised weapons like the Finnish against the Soviets. They used psychological warfare, broadcasting the Empire Guard's pleas for mercy across space. Commander Vex watched the footage from his flagship, still heading toward Earth. How? How are primitive slaves fighting like this?" "It's the humans, sir," Krell reported. "They're teaching them. Every freed world is receiving the same information: how to fight, how to resist, how to win." "Freed worlds? Plural?" "Yes, sir. The nanobots have spread to 3 more slave planets. The slaves are calling it the human doctrine, the idea that any species can fight for freedom." Vex realized the truth. Earth hadn't just declared war on the Empire. They had started a galactic revolution. Back on Earth, the population watched as freed slaves on Prima broadcast their first free message in 40 years. "We are Prima. We were slaves. Now we are free. Thank you, Earth. Thank you for showing us that we can say no. We stand with humanity. The response was immediate. Across Earth, celebrations erupted. But in the command center, General Stone remained focused. Sir, Colonel Park reported. The Empire fleet has increased speed. They'll be here in 6 weeks. Stone nodded. Then we stick to the plan. We've lit the match. Now we see if the galaxy burns. As Prima fought for its freedom, using human knowledge and human tactics, other slave worlds watched and planned. The Empire had ruled through fear for 5,000 years. But Earth had introduced something new to the galaxy, hope backed by human stubbornness and spite. The Empire fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system. 50 harvest ships, each one capable of destroying a planet. Commander Vex stood on his bridge, expecting to see a terrified world preparing to surrender. Instead, he found Earth's entire solar system had been turned into a fortress. Commander, Krell reported, voice shaking. I'm detecting over 10,000 nuclear mines between us and Earth. They've weaponized their entire asteroid belt. Before Vex could respond, every screen on his ship lit up with a single face. President Davis broadcasting from Earth. Commander Vex, welcome to our solar system. You came here to harvest humans. Let me explain why that was your first mistake. The transmission cut to footage, Prima, where freed slaves flew flags with Earth's image, Nexus, where the Empire garrison had been overthrown. 7 more worlds, all in open rebellion. Davis continued, You ruled through fear, but humans? We've lived with fear our whole existence. Fear of predators, fear of disaster, fear of each other. We didn't let it control us, we turned it into fuel. Suddenly alarms blared across the Empire fleet. The quantum communication network, which connected every Empire ship and world, began overloading. Dr. White's virus, held in reserve for this moment, activated. Every Empire ship in the galaxy received the same message burned into their systems. The galaxy is free. Love, Earth. Back on Vex's bridge, systems started failing. Not completely. Humans had learned from Prima that completely disabled enemies were desperate enemies. Instead, they left the Empire ships functional but vulnerable. Sir, Zorn shouted, our shields are at half power. Weapons are cycling slowly. It's like they knew exactly how our systems work. They did. Every freed slave had shared intelligence. Every liberated world had sent data. Humanity had crowdsourced the Empire's destruction. Captain, Rodriguez's voice crackled over the Empire's own communication system. Empire fleet, this is the Earth Defense Force. You have 2 options. Retreat now, or face the combined fury of a species that spent 50,000 years learning to kill things bigger than us. Vex, in 5,000 years of conquest, had never retreated. All ships advance, burn their world. The Empire fleet moved forward into the asteroid belt. That's when the trap sprung. The asteroids weren't just mined, they were engines. Humanity had turned thousands of space rocks into guided missiles. As the Empire fleet advanced, the asteroids changed course, accelerating toward them. Evasive maneuvers, Vex screamed. But human hackers, using knowledge from freed Empire technicians, had already infiltrated their navigation systems. The Empire ships moved sluggishly, unable to dodge effectively. The first asteroid hit a harvest ship broadside. The nuclear mines detonated, cracking the vessel in half. Then another hit, and another. From Earth's moon, humanity's fleet emerged. 100 small ships against 50 giants, but the humans didn't fight fair. They used wolfpack tactics, swarming single Empire ships, launching nuclear torpedoes, then scattering before retaliation. Captain Rodriguez led her squadron in a direct run at Vex's flagship. Remember the Alamo? Remember Thermopylae? Remember, every time humans stood against impossible odds. The battle raged for 6 hours. Empire technology was superior, but humans had something else, absolute unity and the knowledge that losing meant extinction. Then something unexpected happened. 3 Empire ships stopped firing. Their crews, inspired by the slave rebellions, had mutinied. They turned their weapons on their own fleet. This is Captain Krell, came a transmission. We stand with Earth. The Empire's time is over. Vex watched, his perfect fleet crumble. 30 harvest ships were destroyed or disabled. Earth had lost 60 vessels, but they kept coming. Worse, reports flooded in from across the Empire. 15 more worlds in revolution. Empire citizens questioning their leaders. The military fragmenting. General Stone's voice reached Vex directly. You came to harvest humanity. Instead, you helped us unite. You gave us a common enemy. You taught the galaxy that empires can fall. Thank you. Vex made his decision. All remaining ships retreat. As the battered Empire fleet fled, Earth's message broadcast across the galaxy. This is humanity. We are free. You can be too. The Empire believed no one would dare resist. We proved them wrong. Stand up. Fight back. The galaxy belongs to all of us. In the aftermath, as Earth's damaged ships returned home, President Davis addressed the planet. They never intended humans to answer their threats, but we did more than answer. We showed the galaxy that freedom is worth fighting for. Today, Earth stands not as conquerors, but as liberators. The Empire would continue to exist, but weakened, fighting rebellions on 100 worlds. And in the center of it all, Earth stood as a beacon, proof that sometimes the prey becomes the predator. Humanity had responded in rage, and the galaxy would never be the same.